Jimbo, on the other hand, hopes to lead Florida State to their first ever victory over a #1 ranked team ever away from Doak Campbell Stadium. They've never beaten #1 away from the Doak. Chris Wrinkle has a chance to tell you the path Jimbo Fisher has taken to become one of college football's best coaches. Chris?
Well, Jimbo Fisher's always been a hot name in coaching. He arrived in Homewood, Alabama, though, to play one more year of college football with the Samford Bulldogs. At the time, he couldn't possibly know the path that was about to set him up.
Florida State rules the BCS.
Long before he hoisted the crystal football, Jimbo Fisher's journey to becoming one of the kings of college football began at Samford Stadium and the Samford Bulldogs.
The success he's had, no. Am I surprised? No.
Samford strength and conditioning coach Tommy Rawling was a teammate at Jimbo's when Fisher played his one season with the Bulldogs in 1987. But Jimbo's impact at Samford started 3 years before he was their quarterback in Samford's first game of the 1984 season against Salem College.
Bear in mind, we got beat 82-9, and during that game, you look at the scoreboard going, I don't know if they can go to 3 numbers. Well, little did we know the head coach for our opponent and the starting quarterback for our opponent would be on our sidelines and our starting quarterback in 1987.
The loss was one of the worst in program history. A few years later, Samford brought in a new coach with a familiar name, Terry Bowden. His quarterback was familiar too.
Well, we knew one thing, we were going to win.
The change was almost immediate. That first game of the 1987 season against the Cumberlands, Samford trailed, facing a 4th and 6 with just minutes left in the game.
For the previous 3 years, we've been like, well, you know, we came up here, we gave it our best shot, you know, we'll go home, we'll regroup, we got the next game against Hampton-Sydney. Well, somebody forgot to tell Jimbo, Jimbo throws a pass. Now we got a first down, the drive's alive, and we're kind of like, you can feel on the sidelines, hey, wait a minute, maybe we can win this thing. And that game was the difference between going 3-7 the year before, 9-1.
When his playing days were over, Jimbo joined Rawling on Terry Bowden's coaching staff and began his journey to becoming a head coach.
Sometimes I would just go in there if I didn't have anything to do defensively, and because he was such a get when he would break down film, and I would kind of sit in the back and I would look, my God, what does he see that I don't? And I went, huh, that's why he's offensive coordinator and I'm not.
Under Fisher's guidance as offensive coordinator, the 1991 Bulldogs had one of their most successful seasons in program history, making it to the semifinals of the 1AA playoffs, where they faced another coach who would go on to own a crystal football of his own, Jim Tressel and the Youngstown State Penguins.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you, that was 1991. That is a loss that still sticks in my craw, because Terry told us before the game, whoever wins this game is going to win the national title. And, of course, as I want to say, Youngstown State went on to beat Marshall that year for the national title. So that is still a loss I still hadn't gotten over.
The next head football coach at Florida State, Jimbo Fisher.
Obviously, Florida State, his connection with the Bowdens. You know, Jimbo was always the hot, coaching commodity. The fact that he wound up at FSU and where he is now, looking back, no, it's not surprising.
Jimbo Fisher's impact on the Samford football program lasted just 6 seasons, but the impact that Samford has had on his career has lasted much longer. Now, I asked Tommy after our interview who he's cheering for in this game. He says, I know I only live 45 minutes from Tuscaloosa and I'm surrounded by Alabama fans, but I'm always going to pull for the former Samford Bulldog and my former teammate. So at least one person in Central Alabama is rooting for Florida State in this game. But Jimbo Fisher still holds a lot of records at Samford passing-wise, and they're going down rather quickly because Devlin Hodges, another Central Alabama kid, hot on his heels, guys.